Despite 2025 being objectively the worst year for Kanye West's career of all time, there is surprisingly still a chance that he can make a comeback and finally redeem himself. Now, with this year of 2025 being probably one of the worst years we've ever seen from Kanye from a political and music standpoint, despite him saying all the crazy stuff he said, despite him dissing every rapper in the industry, and despite him burning every single bridge he had, I really do believe in my naive and dumb little brain that Kanye West is going to end up making one of the biggest music comebacks of all time and redeem himself after this massive cancellation. And now, before we talk about how Kanye West could possibly redeem himself from this cancellation he's been in, I think it's important for us to firstly start as to where he was before this cancellation and why he even got himself into this position in the first place. Now, this all started around February of 2025 when Kanye was very quiet after his release of Vultures 2, and the entire world was wondering where he was going to go from a musical direction, on whether or not he was either going to drop Vultures 3 with Ty Dolla $ign to finish a trilogy, or he was going to be working on a solo album. But it ended up being a very weird direction Kanye West took, because it had nothing to do with music and just everything about free speech. So on a random night in February, Kanye West just completely went off the rails by saying very disgusting and vile things about all different types of people. And it even got to the point where he was disrespecting Kamala Harris at one point and said that he loved her and had a crush on her. And as these rants went on, Kanye just continued upping the amount of crazy stuff he was saying, with just offending all different types of people, dissing different people like Kendrick Lamar, Playboi Carti, Drake, burning every single type of tie he had to the music industry. And this really seemed like Kanye was on a goal to either do some sort of free speech message or just kind of let out all this anger he had. But one thing we did know was that whatever he was saying at this time for whatever message was definitely not going well with the public, and it was not helping his fans at all. And eventually all these rants did stop, with Kanye West then focusing on the music. But this music direction that he was taking at the time was very odd, with him dropping very disgusting and just offensive music that was going at a lot of different groups of people, with him having ghostwriters such as Dave Blunt's help with the production and the lyrics. And with Kanye West doing all of this, it really did seem like he was trying to self-destruct his own career in every way imaginable, not just from him tweeting out crazy things, but even on the music side, after he was just trying to say the most craziest stuff in all of his music, to the point that he probably made one of the most censored tracks in human history. And with Kanye West making himself public enemy number one still to this day after all of that chaos that happened in the beginning of this year, it leaves the question, which is a very important question for Kanye, and that is, how can he redeem himself and finally get out of this cancellation that he's currently in? And in my opinion, despite all the crazy shit Kanye West said, I still do believe that there is a proper route for him to take in order for him to get back into the public eye and go commercial again. And I do think that it is manageable, but it is definitely going to be hard. And now this is going to sound very basic and just stupid what I'm about to say, but all he needs to do is two things, and that's play time and just make good music. Now, even though these two things sound very simple, there's a lot of intricacies to both of these and complexities that Kanye West needs to go through in order to get back into the public eye and for him to just collaborate with other artists and just be able to be commercial again. And the first one is playing time. Now, what I mean by playing time is that I notice, and hopefully a lot of you guys notice, as time goes on in this entire world that we're living in, every single time a artist, celebrity, influencer, athlete, content creator says something offensive, or they do something disrespectful, or they do something out of line, the ones who end up making it out of the cancellation is simply by just not caring and just let time pass. And now this isn't even a Kanye West thing. We have seen this with all different types of artists. One person that I could think of specifically is Travis Scott. When that entire Astroworld Fest shit happened with Travis Scott, it was really looking really bad for Travis. It really looked like his entire career was about to be over. I mean, at the time, companies like Fortnite were pulling his skin out. Netflix was trying to take down his documentary. Nike he was about to drop him. His drink at the time, Cacti Jack, ended up dropping him. But what Travis Scott did in order to get back into the public eye was simply just going quiet that entire period as that Astroworld Fest case was getting investigated, and just staying out of the public limelight in hopes for people to forget about not necessarily what he did, but what he was a part of. And the same thing will also apply to another massive artist like Playboi Carti. And if you guys don't remember, a few years ago, Playboi Carti went to jail for supposedly abusing a woman. And this was a big thing at the time. I mean, there was a mugshot of Carti, and this was peak time when he came out of Whole Lotta Red, and everybody was loving him. And as crazy as it sounded with a mugshot and with all this negative publicity he was getting at the time, the way he still managed to be one of the biggest artists of 2025 and drop the biggest rap album, which was I Am Music, was simply at the time by just staying quiet and letting time pass. And with that being said, that's what I exactly think Kanye West needs to do in order to get back into the limelight, and it's just simply by not caring, not talking about it, and just staying away from the public as much as possible. And when you're ready to make that music come back, you do, but preferably give it some more time, maybe even to a year or two. And as crazy as it sounds, we've seen Kanye West do this similar thing. I mean, if you guys don't remember, back in 2022 when he went on the Alex Jones podcast and he was saying crazy things, that next year in 2023, he ended up dropping Vultures 1, which had so much hype to the point that Carnival went #1. And the way he was able to do it was from 2022 to 2023, up until Vultures 1, he just stood quiet, created so much hype, and people were excited for Kanye again. And they were really excited to see how this comeback he was going to do at the time was going to play out. Now, if Kanye West can get that game down with just being quiet and playing the quiet game, I think we're one step there from this redemption arc. And the second half will just have to be him making good music and having people care about what he has to say again. And now we have been seeing Kanye West here and there try to make this comeback with music through his album Bully. But in my opinion, all of it is just falling flat because Bully is just an album that was an idea and people just don't care anymore since we've been waiting for it for such a long time. But it's also just the fact that Bully doesn't really sound inspired and it just sounds lackluster from a Kanye musical standpoint. And we could get into so many reasons as to why this is the case. I mean, he's using AI in almost every single song, so it's not even Kanye West really rapping those songs. It's an AI. And then also all of his lyrics and verses and everything he has to say on these projects are just kind of lackluster, with him mumbling on every single song, making it sound like a reference track, to him just kind of saying very corny lyrics. And this is just stuff that we don't want to see on a Kanye West album, let alone his album that's supposed to make him beat this cancellation that he's currently on. And I know there's going to be a lot of people saying that it's going to be impossible for Kanye West to do that because he's quote unquote washed, but I personally don't believe that. I mean, we've seen Kanye time and time again make comeback albums. I mean, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is just one of them to name, but people don't realize that when Kanye dropped Ye back in 2018, that was essentially a comeback album after he was getting canceled for wearing the MAGA hat. And even Vultures 1 to a certain extent was also a successful comeback album because despite how anybody feels about that project, I mean, it did go #1 in the world with the song Carnival. So I do believe that Kanye still has that potential to make a comeback album musically. He just needs to play it right. And I really do think that he could do it, but he actually just needs to care again. And that's how Kanye West performs the best. It's by actually caring. Every single time Kanye West has cared in his career, he's made some of the most beautiful art to inspire people and to move generations and just to move the genre in general. So if Kanye can do both of those, which is play time and just stay out of the limelight, and also make good music without being lazy or using AI, I really do think that he can be able to beat this cancellation he's in. Because honestly, in my opinion, if you go outside right now, or if you call a friend or call a family member and you ask them what do they think about Kanye West's music, 99% of people would say that they like his music, and 99% of people would really say that they don't care. If you walk down the street right now and you tell someone, oh, what do you think about Kanye? They would resort to his music. They really wouldn't talk about what he's been saying because Kanye has always been a person to make music so good that it doesn't even make you care about the person's actions. And now we could debate either whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I think Kanye has the power to do it, and he definitely needs to do it now with this cancellation he's going through. What do you guys my entire situation though? Do you guys think that it's possible for Kanye West to have some sort of redemption arc, or do you guys think that it's officially cooked and we're not going to get anywhere with him? I'm really interested to hearing as to what you guys have to say, so make sure you guys comment, like, subscribe, hype. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers before the end of 2025. I hope it's possible, but we're just going to have to see you guys. But peace.